must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
Viewers, good morning. This morning I want to address the issue of Uhuru Kenyatta's legacy. The legacy of His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta of Kenya keeps on moving, keeps on going forward and forward. Since the handshake in 2018 that brought about the peace, the tranquility, the unity of purpose, President Uhuru's star has been rising. All over Africa, people are thinking of using the model that Kenya used to stop any form of violence, chaos on the streets after elections. As you know, all of you are aware that elections in Africa produce two things: after or before or after the voting. Disputed elections, winner takes it all, loser doesn't accept the results. But the Kenyan model takes us miles and miles away from the normal type of democracy. The democracy, a negotiated format, a consensus format. A democracy that gives consensus a chance. A democracy that talks about the future of a country, the unity of a country, as opposed to a fragmented country, polarized country, where most African countries find themselves in. We have seen in the last 10 years or so, most of the elections in Africa have been contested by the opposition. Very few people in Africa, countries in Africa, where opposition has conceded defeat and come up to congratulate the winner. We have seen the South African model has worked very well. The Ghanaian model has worked so well. I don't see any other country in Africa where the models have worked well. I thought it would be Sierra Leone, but today we see Sierra Leone going back to the same ethnic tensions, as you can see from the reports that are circulating in the international media and the local media. So elections in Africa are contentious issues. They create a contentious position, create a departing point for the people of Africa, of that particular nation. The legacy of Uhuru Kenyatta, therefore, will be remembered for having brought the tranquility that we have today, the peace, the new format, the new tool of having a better organized civil Africa, an Africa without violence, an Africa without chaos after elections, when the opposition accepts to work for the interests of a nation, not personal interests. This has worked in Kenya, and thank you very much, Your Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta, for the tenacity and the steadfastness that you have guided this handshake up to today. For those who want to mutilate the handshake, belittle the handshake. One lesson they should learn is to look at Libya. Libya was once a territory we all respected. It is no more. Let's keep the handshake and the legacy of President Uhuru Kenyatta. Thank you.
Was there a judiciary coup to unseat the government in the aftermath of Kenya's 2017 election? Who was involved in this coup, and how deep did it run? Is Kenya's judiciary still at risk from these rogue agents? In the run-up to the August 2017 elections, the people of Kenya witnessed unusual judicial activity around the role and place of the Independent Electoral Commission. Numerous injunctions were filed by civil society and political parties trying to influence the election. These court cases involve significant matters, such as acquiring voting material down to inconsequential matters, such as the color used on the ballot papers. The effect this had was frustrating the Electoral Commission and almost delaying the whole election altogether. The motivation behind these delays and judicial interferences was simple: greed. The outcome was sinister, a constitutional crisis, and the beneficiaries undefined: cartels and power brokers. We'll begin our story on the 20th of September and work our way back to where the plot began and who was involved. September 20th, Supreme Court, Nairobi. Deputy Chief Justice Philomena Mwilu is reading a prepared statement to the court. Observers note that she is stumbling through the document, unsure of what she is reading.
An impregnable case on both limbs of the section, to wit, accurate, verifiable, accountable.
There is a reason for this. She did not prepare the document herself and has not taken time to familiarize herself with the text. Contrasted with her fellow judges, the scene becomes more suspicious. The truth is, the document she is reading was prepared for her by someone she has never met in Austria. It was delivered to her office the day before, and she has barely had a chance to read it. The author of this statement met with Chief Justice David Moraga in Vienna, Austria between the 2nd of September and the 10th of September. Why was the Chief Justice in Vienna for a week during the most crucial moment of Kenya's history? Only the day before, September 1st, the Supreme Court had nullified the election result and informed the public that the judges would be preparing their statements in the days to follow. Curiously, the Chief Justice's diary shows that he had traveled to meet a representative of the Open Society Foundation, a group with an unclear purpose but well-spread networks around the world. Why did Kenya's Chief Justice fly to meet Open Society representative Waikwa Noike after making that crucial decision? Why was the Deputy Chief Justice's statement prepared by a third party unknown to the public? By this stage, the coup had already developed and was in its final stage. All that was needed was for the public to unanimously accept the judge's statements and proceed to a second election, which was also to be nullified, as these confidential text messages reveal. The entire plot to nullify the election rested in three key places. Rosalind Akombe infiltrating and betraying the Electoral Commission from within, Supreme Court Register Esther Naikaki, who would receive evidence for the presidential petition and allow falsified and fake forms into evidence, and the biased judiciary, which was eyeing more funding from Open Society in return for judicial conformity with the Soros-led institution.
Tomorrow we receive the BBI report. Those who have been anticipating for this report to come will see it tomorrow. The president will receive it, and the entire country will have a look at the report as starting from Wednesday.
This morning I received notification from the chairman who has been handling the BBI report. Akaniambia ya kwamba wamemaliza na wangependa kuja waniletee, and I have told them that they can bring it on Tuesday, and I assure you that as soon as I receive it, mimi nitasoma, lakini pia at the same time nitapatia all Kenyans waweze waipate, waisome. My only prayer, especially to the political class, kwa sababu mimi najua wananchi hawana shida. Jameni, tusome. This is an opportunity to engage in meaningful and peaceful discourse. We don't want to divide the country. Only a fool will say that there are no issues in this country that do not require addressing. So let us address them.
The biggest thing that has happened to Kenya is to audit the way we live, the way people live. Most African countries have never audited themselves. That's why there have been wars, conflicts, corruption, and so on and so forth. But for Kenya to have decided to stop at one moment and said, come on, why are we fighting? We are fighting because of elections. We are fighting because of corruption. We are fighting because of lack of patriotism. If BBI can bring out some of these issues, Kenya will be the best country that you can always enjoy and think about in Africa. Of course, there will be people who want to take this matter further than what it is. It was merely a collection of views that will be put to test through institutions that are laid down by the law. And after that, the MPs and the country will decide whether there are some questions that need a referendum or not, or there are things that they need to adjust so as to bring quality of service, development for everybody. A shilling for a person. 1 shilling, 1 person. Just as it is 1 vote, 1 man, 1 vote. And that is what it is. That's why countries like South Africa, they don't have a problem. Whether they have voted which government or whatever government, the services will reach everywhere. They have a shilling for a shilling. If you are 2 million people in place X, you will have that 2 million shillings. That is it. It is there so that people cannot quarrel, because politics is not made in a vacuum. Neither distribution of resources are made in a vacuum. And that's my take.
In the fight against corruption, it has been demonstrated throughout the world that unless you sustain the war, and it is a war, remember that there are individuals, not only in Nigeria, but throughout the world, who suckle from the breasts of corruption. And they are not just about to win themselves off the suckling. They must be forced out of it, and they'll fight back, because they are individuals, even in government, in all sectors of government, who now take their children to school on the basis of money corruptly acquired. They live in houses that are corruptly acquired. They do everything on the basis of things that are acquired through corruption. So when you want to stop it, they are going to kill you. They are going to ensure that you are neutralized. These are the people that you are fighting against, because these are individuals whose conscience is dead, and they are going to do anything on earth to prevent you. In fact, when one chooses to fight corruption, one must remember that he or she can't be eliminated at all times. And what President Buhari, and indeed any other president in the world, must do is to recruit the population. If the population has been wedded to the idea that corruption is a bad thing, then that is the beginning of the success of that battle. When I see, for example, your former Minister for Petroleum being investigated in the United Kingdom without being a sadist, I'm very happy. Because if you look at the wealth that he is alleged to have accumulated, that is unexplained wealth. Even if he lived for 1,000 years, she would never make that kind of money. James Seabury, who was prosecuted, convicted, and served sentence in the United Kingdom. What lacks in Africa is punishment. Impunity is alive and well in Africa. And we, the electorate, as I say times without number, are in the business of celebrating thieves. We must stop. Yesterday, Barrister Farana said it very well, that we camouflage theft by giving them nice English names: money laundering, fraud, embezzlement, and all those veneers that make them look as if it is some kind of nice game. Let us call these men and women by the right name. They are thieves, stealing on an industrial scale. They are murderers. And once we begin to call them like that, and they have a mark of Cain upon their forehead, and we shun them. Has it been done in African countries? Yes, it has been done. And I keep on repeating, in countries such as Tanzania, they are being dealt with. In Rwanda, they are being dealt with. In Mauritius, they are being dealt with. In Botswana, they are being dealt with. Once you begin to deal with them, then the others who may want to behave like them will begin to take the cue. We must, in the nature of things, earn what we earn through the sweat of our brow. That is the only way in which Africa will realize their potential. Many of these individuals who are in positions of leadership in Africa don't want to leave because they are thieves. And they are scared. They are scared that if they left office, they would be prosecuted. And my view is that they should be prosecuted. You know, individuals such as Hissène Habré, who we know what he did, was it in Chad, are a good example to the leadership that impunity will not thrive. Because I've been talking to a friend of mine from the Cameroons who tells me what is happening in their country right now. And other African countries are blind to it. It doesn't even occupy the headlines of the neighboring newspapers, of the country's neighbors' newspapers. Yet the Cameroon now should be in the same position as we see the conflict in Catalan in Spain. Yet we are attacking it in page 13 in newspapers in Nigeria, in Liberia, and other countries. The time has come that Africa must learn and realize that the world is not bothered about Africa. The world is only bothered about Africa when they want to take the resources of Africa. Then they bother. They want oil, they bother. And I'm using the word bother in a very deliberate fashion, not in the traditional orthodox fashion. They bother when they want to take our timber. They bother when they want to take our bauxite, when they want to take our coke, when they want to take our uranium. But they don't bother about us. They come to our continent without disrespecting the elephant, and they want to preserve the elephant so that they can come and watch the elephant. But they don't care if 100 Africans die. They want to preserve our monkeys. They want to preserve our leopards and our other animals, but they don't care about us. To them, Africa is a zoo of sorts. And until the day that we Africans realize that we are on our own, we are going nowhere. And very soon they are going to shut us out, if they have not shut us out already. We'll not go to the United States of America, we'll not go to Europe, and I'm happy that we are being forced to stay in Africa. Let us stay in Africa and build Africa. I mean, what does Africa lack in terms of resources? What do we lack? If it is solar energy, which continent is capable of producing solar energy to light this continent and the entire earth? If it is hydroelectricity, what can we not generate? If it is minerals, if we wanted to make bombs, if we should, where do they get their uranium from? If it is timber, what don't we have? If it is human resources, we are 2 billion of us, and we are people who have intelligence, and yet we are kept in a constant state of conflict. The Europeans, the French persuading their former colonies that they are more French than they are Yoruba. They are more French than they are Wolofs and Mandinkas. The British persuading us that we are more British than we are Ibibio or Yoruba. And of course, when we find ourselves in that schizophrenic state, then we engage in internal conflict and they sell their arms to us. Tell me, which African country makes guns? None. I think Africans must recognize that bad governance is harmful to their very well-being, not only for the current generation, but generations yet to be born. This is a continent that has always had potential. These are a people that have always had potential. But since we regained our independence from the colonialists, African leaders in many countries have consistently demonstrated that they are not working in the interest of their people. And that is sad, because many of the individuals who occupied positions of leadership are still beholden to the colonial masters. We see former French colonized nations, leaders who are beholden to Paris, those who are colonized by Portugal, beholden to Lisbon, those who are colonized by Belgium, beholden to Brussels, those colonized by the United Kingdom, beholden to London, and the single country that was colonized by Spain, Equatorial Guinea, beholden to Madrid. And this is tragic. Of course, currently, many African leaders are getting beholden to Beijing, and progressively the United States of America in Washington. The net effect is that the African agenda is being sacrificed to the detriment of the peoples. And we have examples which are live as I speak. The problems in the Cameroon, the problems in Togo, the problems in South Sudan, the problem in Central African Republic, in Mali, in Mauritania. And these are sad things. And the tragic thing is that the African Union appears to be helpless in this situation. Africa has been victimized by systems of government which we do not understand and which are not serving us well. And the time is now to wake up and to begin to find African solutions to African problems. Is it doable? Yes, it is. But we must wake up from our slumber, because those who are in positions of leadership are quite comfortable with the situation as it is. We must have something in the nature of an Arab Spring. The Arab streets woke up and they told their leaders, you are going to do that which is in our best interest. Unfortunately, some of the gains made after the Arab Spring have been clawed back. And that is a lesson for us, that if you regain your independence, you must remain eternally vigilant, because the forces of reaction are very persistent. You know what is amazing about the African Union, which is the immediate successor of the OAU, is that it's beginning to let Africa down. I was amazed about a month ago when Zimbabwean president, whom I respected in his early days as a freedom fighter and as a man of vision and intellect, when he went to the African Union and made a donation of $1 million, and the African Union accepted it, in a situation where the people in Zimbabwe are suffering, where there is almost 80 to 90% unemployment. And the reason why the African Union has become, as you rightly say, a toothless bulldog is because there are no leaders who are true crusaders for the agenda of the African Union in the manner that we had in the early days, when we had Nkrumah, when we had Nyerere, when we had Haile Selassie, when we had Gamal Abdel Nasser. Today, in a very perverted concept of non-interference in the affairs of other nations, and in a perverted understanding of the idea of sovereignty, people are not their brothers and sisters' keepers, so that we know that there is a festering wound in South Sudan, and we are doing nothing about it. We know there is a festering wound in the Cameroons, and we are doing nothing about it. A festering wound in Togo, and we are doing nothing about it. And even when the leaders congregate in Addis Ababa for their annual jamboree, they don't discuss these problems. Right now, I would have thought that there should be an extraordinary session of the African Union to discuss a number of things, to discuss the countries which are in trouble, and I'm mentioning them ad nauseum, to ask the question, what is the problem in the Central African Republic? How can it be resolved? What is the problem in Togo, in Gambia, in the Cameroons, and in many other countries, so that we have African solutions to African problems? Because what we'll see very shortly is that the UN will sit down and send a peacekeeping force. And when there is no peace to be kept, and they send peacekeeping forces, when, in a manner of speaking, the horse will have bolted away. So the African Union is very disappointing. When Dr. Mahamat was appointed as the chairman of the commission, I thought that this was a new person that would come with new energy to replace Nkosana and Lamini Zuma. But what I see is lethargy. What I see is lack of enthusiasm. What I see is lack of direction. What I see is continued pain. I was amazed about a month ago, if I'm not wrong, when the international community asked the African Union to nominate a country to sit in the Security Council, and they nominated the Democratic Republic of Congo. How can you possibly nominate the Democratic Republic of Congo, whose president has refused to hold election, whose country is generating refugees, whose government is controlling Kinshasa only in real terms, and where there is conflict everywhere, and where the resources are being taken away by the Chinese, the Malaysians, and the Belgians, and other rogue individuals from Europe and America, and you nominate such a person? You nominate a hyena to sit in an assembly which is judging how goats should be preserved? It is a tragedy.
Good morning, viewers. Welcome to Punchline Africa television, broadcasting all the way from Nairobi, the Republic of Kenya. Viewers, thank you very much for keeping the custom of listening to us, watching us, wherever you were for the entire year that we started together. And we shall always be together up to the end. Thank you very much, viewers. Viewers, wherever you were, this is Good Morning Show. It is the last Monday before Christmas. Therefore, we shall make it a special show where we shall bring highlights of the year before the Son of God was born. Looking at the events on the African continent, together with me is Miriam Ogutu, who has been my presenter. With us, my co-presenter, and a member of the team of Punchline Africa Television. We have done our best. Whoever you are, whatever you are, how you are, the place, location doesn't matter. We have reached you. We have tried through the digital platform to reach you. Thank you very much. Welcome to the show, Miriam.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you.
Viewers, the most important thing is to leave a note, to leave history, to leave a mark. It is the most important thing that once we end with a mark. Julius Caesar left the mark for us to remember that there were comets that he said they stayed in the sky for 7 weeks. But Julius Caesar could not tell whether these comets made anything. It was only God and the beggar on the streets of Rome who had seen the comets not moving. But in the event of the beggar trying to deliver the message to Julius Caesar, he was stopped. He was harassed. But he said, "Sir, let me say something." His battalion of Julius Caesar could not accept. Those of you who have read English literature and who have read the type of books that we can look at, you can see, summarize the current situation. There are people who plot. There are those plotting. There are those who will plot. It is up to you to say, take which advice that you want to take. Leadership is always contested. And that's why God created a situation that he left us to find out who is best suited to lead us. Accusations that are coming up as we speak, the governor of Machakos has just been to the Kilimani police station making a statement of being threatened to be killed. It is sad that God left us to make judgment as to whether we need certain positions, as to whether we want to carry along with views and tolerate others without threatening to eliminate others. It is sad that in this world today, from the mafia system of Sicily to the current situation that goes around in Africa and elsewhere in the world, assassination attempts and threats to kill others always occur. But it's sad again that if we don't talk about these assassinations, if we don't deliver the truth, it will be difficult for us to understand the history tomorrow. It is also sad that people don't see when it is coming. But if they had seen how it comes, then nobody will be judged by the very fact that you plot, but you must leave room for your own cries, whether your children or the others that might make you cry. It is also sad that there are people whose role is only to make things very difficult for the government to operate. I have commented on various issues this year together with my co-presenter. I predicted some, and I believe I will be vindicated. First of all, I want to make a statement which I'll read under the legacy of President Uhuru Kenyatta. The legacy trend, we write voluntarily, and we do analysis from different angles. I do put myself in the seat of moderating. I produce what I see is worth my capacity to do so. I don't pretend to, neither do I ask people to write for me an exam. I do it with the rest of my heart for Africa. Patriotism, the imp, IMP, those who have telephones can Google, who have little English of master's English, the imp of patriotism in our countries in Africa is lacking. If you don't have it, I am not God to create it. I'm simply saying, get it. We have heard of the music propaganda from the days of Hitler to today. The propaganda music of political propaganda, which lacks the imp of patriotism, only creates hate. And that is why the ICC, International Criminal Court, has added one chapter after 1998 statute. The Rome Statute has added media, celebrity, media, people who take an advantage over the others and scream hate headlines, profile people, make people profiled because you're a musician. That is the lack of the imp. You don't have it. Patriotism, where is it? Yes, it's true that corruption in Kenya, not only in Kenya, in Africa, is rampant. At least for you Kenyans, your corruption is spread. Each tribe has some corrupt people. Our tribes, some of our countries, it's only one single lane. One single lane. If you want a loan, you get it from one single lane. If you want something, you get it from one single lane. There are people who are even forced to go and marry in order to get a loan. Look at that. Africa is being invaded by very serious systems. And I wanted the younger generation to hear me. I've been young also. I was more radical than you are. I became a radicalized rebel in 1978 at the age of 17. Missing several lessons, being thrown out of university or schools. Yes, I was. But there's one thing that guided me, which has guided me up to today. And that's why I'm still here. Despite the difficulties that I've gone through, I'm still here. There is one thing. When I get on something, I don't waffle. I don't waffle. When I defend Mugabe, I defend up to the end. When I stood up to bring peace in northern Uganda, I did not waffle. I stood by the truth. Peace is there. That Museveni pointed a finger to say that there is no peace and Matsanga has caused insecurity. Never. When I stand firm against ICC, I deliver. I never waffle. Kenyans might waffle, most of them, but not this man. When I said there is a problem, people thought I was mad. 2009, nobody wanted to see Kenyatta. Nobody wanted to see Ruto. Nobody wanted to see Mudhaura. Nobody wanted to see Major Ali. Nobody wanted to see that other guy called Joshua. Nobody wanted to see Kosige. I stood. I wanted to see them. I delivered. I knew the court was not a very good court. So when you plan these things, think behind where you came from. When you plan these attacks on those who have helped you, think again. Think again, where do you be had this Ugandan not been there to come and say there is a bad system in international community that wants to kill Africa and kill Kenya. I speak this with a heavy heart. That always volunteers, we don't seek rewards, but malcontents seek rewards. Malcontency is what made Hitler stronger. Political propaganda, music, that is imp without patriotism is what killed Germany. Music of hate, messages delivered in hatred, killed many African countries, including mine. In 1985, when Museveni took over power in Uganda, 1986, every black man in that country was called a Luo, a Dugudu, Dugudugu. Tires were cut and put on people's necks. People were killed in broad daylight, in taxi parks, bus stations, roads, bars, houses. Our country suffered. I speak with passion because there is nobody who will correct the history except myself to make the history corrected. The type of music killed Rwanda. Look at Rwanda. Others called others cockroaches. We have to be careful about the music. I'm making a comment before I allow our discussion. The medium will excuse me because it might be a longer one. The music can be misused to deliver messages that can create a terrible state. In Nigeria, the Fulanis are singing music to kill Igbo. The Igbo people are perishing. In Amazonia, Bia's people, the French speakers, are singing music to demonize Amazonians. At least, for me, I've done my best. I've stuck by my country and my Africa. Might not have my country. I might have Africa at heart. But the type of music must be measured. And I thank the correction by the ICC, International Criminal Court, that added media as one medium that you cannot utilize that music. Play hate, spread hate against A, medium, O, B, me, and go free. You will go to the tribunal. It is that I want to say. As we listen to this music, let's be careful that we don't spark another chaos. Buhari is slaughtering people using music. Bia is slaughtering people using music. But look at another aspect. George Soros enters Africa, uses younger men, pays younger men, donates money, huge amounts of money to younger generation to play music, to turn over, to create anarchy. I have no problem with King Kaka. The only problem I have with him is not balancing his music. The music is not balanced. The facts are true, some of them. But if you are mentioning corruption, don't mention people's names only. Mention all. That's the only my problem I have. If you want to look at what King Kaka, look at the book, The Lion and the Jewel. Some of them shouting on this platform, can't read one sentence of The Lion and the Jewel. Show me, say, who are the actors? You don't know. You need to Google through the phone. So don't bring malcontents here. I'm talking to people who know what I'm talking. Those who want to listen, listen. Malcontents can as well try to read. Go back to school. The Lion and the Jewel is King Kaka. Lakunule is king. The king faces a pointing finger at people, the same people, the youth. The music starts by smoking. Talks about a Bible. It's very interesting. I'm not disputing that there's no corruption in Kenya. There is. Not in Uganda. There is. We even have our own King Kaka in Uganda. He's called Bobby Wine. But whom does he sing for? Whom does he sing for? Why has he waited to sing now? Why did he keep silent from 1986 to date, when some of us have limbs, have scars in the hearts? Our fathers, our wives have perished. Our brothers have perished. You are singing today, Bob Wine. Or your ick are singing today. Didn't you praise him? Didn't you? That's only my point of Lakunule. Why do you become a Lakunule all of a sudden? And point a finger at the youth. The same youth you are singing to wake up. But what category are you? What category? Who prompted you? The imp lacks. IMP. Look for it. For that word is very simple. Do you have it? Have you been prompted to sing? Is Bob Wine singing for us or for himself in a ghetto with 6-storied building surrounded by the ghetto? Hello? Where are you? Is Bob Wine singing for us when we are surrounded with poverty and you have a house of 6 stories among the poverty-stricken people? Who has sent you? George Soros. Who has paid you? Some politician. Someone has told you, I want you to blacklist Matanga. Sing about him. Sing. Oh, sing is heavy, is fat, like a hippo. Call me all the names. Hippo, devote. I have accepted. But when you go back and see the history that I have carried out, you can't carry my history. You can't carry it. Ask the people what they went through as Germans went through what using the music. I'll quote. Adolf Hitler said, music affects the heart and the emotions more than the intellect. Where there could be the heart of a nation beat stronger than in the huge masses, in which the heart of the nation has found its true home. There you are. I don't know. I learned English by virtue. Of having been from a bad background, which I'm not using as compensational politics. The danger of Africa and the danger of Kenya is compensational politics. The politics of saying you did not have shoes. Therefore, when you get, you grab, greed, you grab because you didn't have shoes. Because your father did not buy you shoes. Therefore, you grab. Compensational politics. Hallelujah. You want to compensate on us. Not everybody. And many people are in the same category. Why do you play compensational politics on the rest of the people? Why? Let's go. Come and reason. Don't threaten people. Reason with people. And we shall flow in argument. Compensational politics is one of the politics, if you have read it, because you have not read it beyond me. I've read it. I can write it even when I'm going to the grave and one leg is down. It's the type of politics that has created Africa. You think because you grew up with jiggers, everybody should have jiggers. But when you get shoes, you want to even eat those jiggers. That's the politics. That is what is killing Kenya. Because Uhuru Kenyatta grew from a different home, therefore I must eat as he is eating. Hello, then God should have created us uniform. How would the world be if God created us uniform? Compensational politics. Any political science professor, I saw Professor Manyara. What politics are you playing, Prof? This is the time for you to show political destiny, maturity, intellect that Adolf Hitler did not like. This is my sermon today. And after this, I leave you to do your African news. This is the time Professor Manyara going on TV to show intellect that Hitler hated. Why are we not able to see that there is a degree of compensational politics being injected in our youth, poisoning our youth, to come to equalize themselves, to be told that don't lean on the right, lean on the left, attack Kenyatta, attack this, attack that one. Those are the people. You are pointing at the people. You are killing your own youth. You use the Bible to just religion to justify your song. When Mr. Bob Wine started in Uganda, we non-Baganda speakers thought he was going to sing in all languages. We ended up Lakunule. Lakunule, who wants to marry Cindy, but attacks anybody who wants to seduce Cindy. Nigerian friends of mine watching this video right now will agree that Buhari wants to marry the entire Nigeria, but doesn't want the Igbo people to sing, also to seduce Nigeria. Hello? Paul Biya wants to marry the entire Cameroon, but does not want Amazonians also to seduce Cameroon. Hello? Hello? This is the danger we have. King Kaka wants to seduce the rest of us, but doesn't want us to ask why he left the others. That's my point. Lakunule. He is a Lakunuli of the lion and the jewel. A boasting, boastful guy coming in the village, telling every villager that my trouser has the best because it was hanging between the knees and the foot. Then the villagers said, but my son, our son, the legs that you are showing that don't have oil. So when Lakunule noticed that the trouser had shrunk and he had been given a new title of wearing socks as he was trying to seduce Cindy. The current situation in Kenya, therefore, brings us to the music, political music, that we see today being sung. Who is playing? Do we have the Dubes? Lucky Dube? Do we have Bob Marley? How many Bob Marleys do we have? How many Bob Marleys do we have who have the imp of patriotism? How many? Lucky Dubes. How many Lucky Dubes do we sing if they don't? How many Lucky Dubes can go and sing a patriotic song it sells without somebody having paid you 50 million? Hey! At celebrity, at celebrities, celebrity, celebrity. Ask Mr. Jeff Koinange to fly to New York to present Kenya without being told 2 million shillings. Hello, 2 million. I need payment. How many? How many? Do we have the patriots anymore? Do we have the Kutis? Do we have the Luambo Makiadi? Do we have Rocheru? Do we have Rocheru? Where is the Luambo Makiadi? The late Franco, who told Mobutu in his face. He did not ask Mobutu the money. Rocheru, they didn't ask for money. They sang from exile. Look at them. Where the Simba Wanyika, the last song sang in the Mushroom Carnival in Nairobi on his last journey, when bees, can you imagine? Bees attacked him, killed him in an accident. As one of those few people who listened to that good music that evening, I had come to Nairobi from Uganda with my Honorable Minister of Lands, Minerals and Water Resources. I was the PA by then. We listened. You know, when some people were still looking about compensation or politics, I was a PA. Yes, 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 yes. I don't want to be like a trolley, but I was. Yes. I was already a PA by 1981. 1979, 78, 77, I was carrying a briefcase of a very senior commander in this region, Lieutenant General Muzuguri, Black Mamba, Chikosi Malum. Where were you? You tell us, oh, Bob Wine. Where were you? People have seen quite a lot of things, but they don't come to divide the people. The history is more important to build on, but you don't come to sing in an enclave of poverty when you are sleeping in a 6-story building. Is that patriotism? sleep in the shack like Lucky Dube. His children today suffer. Some of them have no school fees. Yes. But in his music is wagwan. You never kill the spirit of Lucky Dube. Muhammad Wadi of Sudan, patriotic singers, they were singing for Africa. But you don't get global, some people's millions in a small hotel on the 3rd floor of a hotel somewhere, and then you go and hammer people's names. Sing about corruption, sing about prosperity, sing about infidelity, sing about everything, generally, and leave the people to make a decision. Hey, don't make judgment and say, Miriam. That is my disagreement. And the viewers in Kenya must understand, I am going to have an argument, and I have an argument since Saturday with people. I have told them, so go and hang. Go and hang. Those who support King Khan, whoever, what is Khan? King Kaka, support him. Me, no. Because he sang hate. He didn't sing about corruption. He sang hate. If it was corruption, sing it general. All of us know where corruption is here. Everybody knows. There are children not going to school. There are people who never ate yesterday. Why do you leave others and bring in one section? If you have brought L, just tell the world corruption is killing us in Kenya. And I believe you revive your song when the bill arrives. When very many people land on you, those who sponsored you might pay heavily, because there is no court that will allow a person to come and tell me or tell you that I'm corrupt and you walk free, continue to play that music. It might be blocked. It will be. Just wait. Good constitutional law will block it. It will never play. And you will be the one ashamed. Look at where the finger is going to come back. You took the money, you played a song out of money, not out of your conscience. Conscience is very important. There are songs. This man from Kiamu who died, you look at their songs. Look at the songs here. There are very many people here who have sung patriotic songs that bring you Wainaina. He didn't name people. He said kitu kidogo. Kenya inchi ya kitu kidogo. He did not name people. King Kaka should have just put there Kenya inchi ya corruption. Nobody will be bothering him. But now he's gonna have a big task. If people have not filed an application to YouTube already for it to be stopped, people will hear it in their houses only. If you have it. But Mr. Wainaina, Ndugu, what is he called?
Eric
Wainaina, music still lives on. He went ahead and picked a title from UN. Because the music was on a situation. Inchi ya Kenya looks like inchi ya kitu kidogo. Anywhere you go, kitu kidogo. Anywhere you go, kitu kidogo. So the guy left us to guess who is this. But for you, a good singer, Miriam, to come and appoint particular people, as if you were told last night on the 3rd floor of a hotel that, you know, on Saturday we are opening up something. So what you do, release this, but don't mention this. Kenya wa Kenya, hapana. Don't hide behind. Corruption is there, but don't do this type of things to your nation. Don't. Because if we got the trend of Mr. King Khan, we are gonna kill this country. We shall destroy this country. If we go that way, we are gonna kill this country. This country will go nowhere. That's why for me, on Bob Wine, I'm sorry. The music is sung in Uganda. I'm not a Uganda. I am a Ugandan. Let him start translating in all languages. Then we can talk of something. Otherwise, you will be on my coronation day. The message is very clear. God, I came here with a Bible so that Mr. Bob Wine thinks he reads it more than me. This is very old. I don't want to tell you where it is. And I will ask Miriam later on to open one page. Just open randomly. It will tell you what I've said. So don't bring us more chaos. Sing in all languages. Unite all the people. I will accept this stupidity of singing in one tribe language then causes more problems for others to be killed, named spies, named this, named this. The man has the machinery. Hitler has the machinery. Leave us alone. Some of us have suffered. If you did not suffer, you are in the womb. By 1986, you are still not born. Don't make us suffer. We suffered enough. We lost our parents and their wives. We don't want to cry for you. Suffer. Make it work for all people. Don't sing for one tribe. Don't sing to appease the king. Don't sing, appease Ugandans. Appease Kenyans. Don't single out. Don't single out Kenyatta family. Don't single out Raila family. Don't single out Ruto family. Sing on behalf of Kenyans. Yes. The same people who clapped when Northerners in Uganda were being banned are the same people today telling us we should keep quiet and accept the music. He is bringing music to destroy us. George Soros is using people, is using Chamisa, is using Bob Wine, is using Marema, is using these Kakas, is using Boniface Mwangi, is using Lumpens. Lumpens with Anna. I don't want to say it. George Soros has entered this continent. Why can't George Soros help us to take Buhari? Instead, he's helping us to dismember ourselves. Why can't George Soros help Amazonians to tackle beer? He's going for our musicians because the musicians look for a target, the masses. The masses are suffering, but the intellect are not talking. Hello? People are dying. You bring in music that divides them. The political propaganda of music can destroy a nation. Rwanda went down to ashes because radio stations and the musicians played the music against the Tutsi. Have you seen where we are heading? So Kaka has brought music. Another man from the mountains is going to bring. You see where we are going to end? Another person from Kisumu will also, to defend the Luo community. Another man who is going to sing, hello, this is what. So where is the nation going? Where is the nation going? It's going in chaos. And that's for me. I have nothing much. I've seen all I have seen. Anyone can call it nonsense. If I spoke in my own language, I'm very fluent. But English, I write it very well. Believe me or not, you don't even know the meaning of IMP, imp. If whoever you want to criticize, because you are useless, incompetent, malcontent, who delivers nothing but sit on internet and check words. I don't check words. I write them. I write them. I write. You can't beat me because I have beaten even the Bazungu who brought English. So that's it. Me on facts. That's it. That's Miriam. I'm sorry. That's my life. I am not going to be persuaded by George Soros mechanisms or bringing money here to incite younger men through dubious politicians, deliver them the money to come and maim countries. No, I'll speak out. I've spoken out. I am not against those who want to listen to Kaka, but I believe before the end of the day or tomorrow, someone would have blocked that music. And it will go to YouTube. YouTube will not play it. You can play it clandestinely because it has named the people who have ever. Some people have been cleared. Some say they are eligible. They have never been proved in a court of law. So if you go and bring this, you are losing the focus. That's it. Thank you very much. The legacy of President Uhuru Kenyatta, and the legacy trend will always say it, and I've said it. If you want to read our legacy page, is www.thelegacytrend.com. www.thelegacytrend.com. All small words. You read my articles. You read our articles. And if you want further knowledge, especially those who are limited in knowledge but all have a way of learning, is www.panafricanforumltd.com. Plenty of it. What else? Where else can I show you? So many things. If you want to read, I thank the 9 million readers who have read my Pan-African Forum blog. Thank you very much worldwide. Students who have used my information to pass the exams, God give you more chances and become good leaders, because I don't talk lies. I talk the truth. I tell it as it is. I'm not an imperialist mouthpiece. I am an African. I live in the abyss of imperialism, but I defend Africa. And I am never shy of defending Africa. The legacy of President Uhuru Kenyatta will be documented, and we shall continue to do so. Another thing that I want to tell people is very clear. I have said, I can see so many people going back to the same thing which I had. This is the BBI, the healing process. They have gone to it. They have gone to it. The most important thing that Kenyans should read and look at, you see where we are heading with the music of Mr. Kaka, King Kaka. We are heading. Why is the music being made to the elections? So if Kenya does not clean its electoral mechanisms, let me add on the voice of Hans Krigler. I am adding mine, and I'm holding the Bible. If Kenya does not clean the electoral mechanisms, how you elect, how you conduct, how you process your elections. I'm telling you, we can go to heaven and return, or hell and return. The conflict will not go away. So, thank you very much, Mr. President. You said it. Let the BBI team go ahead. Either they add more people or they bring more people, but you have already given a mandate for them to go ahead. Let them look at the elections. I don't have any problem. A redemption strategy cannot come when you have poor elections. Hello? It is going to take you back to where you are. That's all. If I did not say redemption strategy for 922 times over Kenya K24 until the editors checked me out because they said you are Mr. Redemption. One younger man, a son of a friend of mine who used to interview me, went and told his editors that this man talks about redemption every morning. He did not know what I meant. Now you Kenyans know what I mean by redemption. For us who have come from a background of conflicts, we fear them. We are only telling you conflicts are not good. Just do a redemption strategy. Healing, reconciliation comes. The final product is healing. Truth, accountability, restitution, reparations, reconciliation will produce you a healed country, united as one. It can divide no more. Thank you very much. Over to you, Miriam. For African news, I can see great things that have happened, especially in Sudan. And in Sudan, they are very quick to dispense justice.
Mm-hmm. But was that really justice from
Yeah,
that?
it took, whether it is not or what.
It's a start to.
It's a starting point.
Okay.
So,
okay.
I think where Bashir is, before I go, I want to say this. I might miss the point because there are so many African stories you have. Mm-hmm. The agenda 4 of President Uhuru Kenyatta, let's single out the agenda of unity. In the 2 years left, in the 14 days left, as we enter 2020, let's single out what is available for Kenyans. Let's not bring in this dark houses politics, dark housing. Mm-hmm. You see people sitting somewhere, mushrooming at an artist event. An artist in the evening produces, before you go there, produce this song. That politics, Jamen, that politics, my fellow Africans, is very deadly. It can take us nowhere. It can only lead us to dark alleys of conflicts. Mm-hmm. In Sudan, I went there in 2017, early on 31st of March. I was invited to give a lecture at the conference held by the chief justices of the entire Africa. 54 chief justices were seated in Khartoum, including President Bashir. I gave my lecture. I was given 25 minutes, and Bashir added more. The audience went wild. Dr. Ojwang, the Dean of Nazareth University, was a witness. We were together. He gave his paper first. No, he gave his paper after my paper. Bashir gave me a standing ovation. He stood up, and the entire hall stood up. Miriam, I want to tell you why There's one point that I told Bashir, and I have told somebody in Khartoum to watch. I said, all along in these cases of yours, of ICC, you have been attacking UN. It's a wrong strategy. Attack the chief prosecutor and the methodology used to collect evidence. Your case will be no more. He stood up. I did not know why he stood up. In the middle, and started clapping. When I could hear, I saw stars very far, because this is the president, the hall of chief justices, big hall, and up, everybody stood. I said, what have I done wrong? The man said, this guy, in all these years since he was indicted, nobody has ever told him that. All the people who used to go to him, tell him lies to take money. But nobody told him, change the strategy. Let's attack the methodology the chief prosecutor used to collect evidence. In Kenyan case, I went that way. How did the chief prosecutor in Kenya, Miriam, collect evidence? Through NGOs, intermediaries. I've caught them now. I've caught them. Now I have evidence written by Besuda herself. Mwenyewe. I caught them. I am just waiting for the wind to slow down. Madam Besuda, if you are watching, I am waiting for the wind to slow down. You wear your skirt and a petticoat to cross over to the United Kingdom. I'll get you. I'll get you from Hampstead, where you live. I'll get you. You'll answer. Britain is a treaty signer. It is signed for the treaty of the Rome Statute. I'll get you. You told me I told lies. Tell me today which lies I told. If you don't answer that, if I were you, clear me now before. And pay me back the $780,000 I spent defending myself, yet I was telling the truth. Otherwise, that house in Hampstead, you lose it. It's a warning shot. Those who have ears here, because some of them have forgotten why I am here. I should not be here. I should not. And they underrate me. They underrate me. I should not. The same who go around threatening people. No. Some of us lost everything for the sake of making sure that Kenya does not go down the train. The people who sat down, Waki, he's still alive. Still alive. He wrote the names. He can't tell you he did not know the names he wrote. Why hasn't anybody in Kenya asked this Waki why he wrote those names and not the others? Why? When I took that question to court, they danced to me like they danced our drum in Kadodi, in my county. They danced to me. They ate my money, 7 million. I even paid a bill from my children's savings. Anyway, my children are grown up, from myself and my wife's savings. Because my children are fending for themselves. Except one we are left with. They are not begging. And they have no compensation or politics. Because they didn't grow in a good way. They grew up as refugees. We are not compensating. We are not asking anybody to give us food. Neither are we asking for anybody to give us what we want, but we are only very good people. I've said this emotionally because at times maybe you cry like a Paul took out his handkerchief and they said, I've come to preach. But even the Bible says, when you preach and the people don't listen, take the dust. Over to you, Miriam.
Do we take a short break and then we come back with the African news?
No, I am ready. Okay, let's take a break.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
All right, let's take a very short break. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending on where you're watching us across the world. Just a few minutes, around 23 minutes past midday here in Nairobi. Thank you so much. Don't go too far. We'll be back with the rest of the news making headlines across the continent.
The creation of African Continental Free Trade Area is a step forward for the African integration, and it is very much welcome both by Africans in Africa and those in diaspora. The creation of such is the only second one since the formation of World Trade Organization in 1994, and is only compared to the size that can compete if it works in Africa. 1.3 billion people will benefit out of this free trade that has been signed and endorsed by 54 heads of state. After several years of up and down in the valleys of Africa and the mountains of Africa, we finally came to a conclusion that this has to happen, which brings us to the dream of Kwame Nkrumah when he said, at least building a block by block, Africa will one day unite to stand as a united continent. But are the members of this African Union committed? Will they implement what they have decided? Today, in several countries, we see signs of xenophobia, the lack of patriotism amongst the younger generation, the lack of employment, the unemployment, the mistreatment of the young, the youth, those who need jobs, the corruption, the amount of corruption that has eaten the entire continent of Africa could hamper the free trade that we are anticipating on the continent. What measures, therefore, have African heads of state put in place to ensure that those who lag behind, those who drop out, must be penalized? We should not sign the document for the sake of documents, but we should sign documents for practical reasons that we shall implement what Africa needs today. Can it happen in our times? Is it going to happen? Is integration a mirage? Is integration worth going to happen? Will it happen? What has happened about the present blocks that have started integration process? What have they done? Is Africa integrating? Thank you.
Well, Welcome back, and thank you so much. The show is Good Morning Africa, and we've looked at our first part of the show about an hour and a half ago, and now let's just get into the conversation and the news across Africa. And one of our viewers there was wondering what is the update from the Gambia. I think Doctor would add into that, but also what I know is the case that the Gambia presented to the ICC in regards to the Rohingya Muslims that are under attack in Myanmar. I think it started last week, and we see Sanchu's, what's her name, that lady, Sanchu something. She was there to, plead the case of
Kim Sanchu.
The lady.
Kim Sanchu, yes.
Yeah, so she was there, and of course, if you understand the history of that lady and how much she fought even to have the democratic space in Myanmar, which is still not really there, but she was very vocal, and years back she was speaking against especially the military rule in that country, and now she's been barred from participating in any presidential elections. She had 15 years under house arrest. I watched a movie they did about her called The Lady. You can look for it and just see the history of that lady and how much her efforts have brought the country to where it is today. But unfortunately, she's been very quiet in the manner in which the Rohingya Muslims were being mistreated and attacked and killed and maimed and raped in Myanmar. She was very quiet, and so that's why I think her name has been dragged into this case. And the Gambia is the one on behalf of the Muslims countries across the world that is presenting this case to the ICC. So while the Gambia is doing this, now the Gambia has its own problems again in their own country, Doctor.
First of all, I have spoken in the first part. I don't want...
It's okay, it's Africa News.
I wanted to give you company.
It's always a pleasure to get your opinion in some of these matters.
Adama Barrow is Matanga. This television station made Adama Barrow. All Gambians, wherever you were, the only station that had a satellite phone. Tomorrow I will bring my satellite phone to show you how I used to send signals into Gambia for a change to remove that guy. The only station that was giving you information about Gambia, talking about General Yahya, was me. But because of the French influence, Adama Barrow has lost the ground. You can see he has become more religious, even going. The first person to arrest in ICC is Madame Fatou Bensouda. She has no credibility to be an ICC chief prosecutor, because she is needed in Adama Barrow Human Rights Commission to answer as a Minister of Constitutional Affairs why several journalists were eliminated, over 200 of them. So credibility is not there. Why I told you that the world is like a Shakespeare. The lady in Rohingya, in Cambodia, is it Cambodia?
Myanmar.
Mm-hmm. The 5 generals. I like those 5 generals. They ruled Myanmar with a lot of strength. Mm-hmm. All of them, they wear the same uniform if they want to come out for occasion. They molested this woman under house arrest.
15 years.
Under house arrest. Mm-hmm. They killed the husband. The husband was British, died. The woman could not bury. But I am shaken as a person that she has become the biggest defender of the same regime.
And the things that she was fighting against, and she's now, I think it's very hypocritical of her.
Do you know why Miriam, why beat about the bush?
Yes.
The word imp is gone out. Why? Power. She's now in power. She's the prime minister. She's coming up to defend the atrocities committed against Rohingya by the same generals. She's taken a central part of nationalism of Myanmar nationalism. Have you seen? Very dangerous nationalism grows around me, Burma.
And we have seen it growing in India right now. I don't know if you've seen that.
Exactly. It is moving. Because the colonial master, one same colonial master, who took down the whole southeastern 3 countries, Holland, Britain, to some extent French. Then the Ottoman Empire, which is Turkey, they came in. You have seen the spread of Islamic fundamentalism cutting through Malaysia, Indonesia, part of Singapore, some parts of all those areas, Pakistan, Bangladesh. You see the struggle against races, against ideology of religion, religious ideology, Christians versus she is not. And then another religion comes, the Hindu, the Hindus. You see those monks, the people still, those ones who demonstrate, who overthrow governments in Thailand. Once you are not given green light by them, you go down. So what is happening in that region is the clash of religious ideologies. The militants are saying we are the people. The hardcore Hindus versus Christians versus Muslims against Hindus. The plight of the Rohingya is well known.
It was documented.
And for me to have a woman who studied in Cambridge, in Oxford, whose husband sticks to human rights if the husband was alive, to go and say this was not there,
her silence has betrayed her.
Yes.
And I think it's the same thing that is happening also in China. There has been some religious cleansing there because against Muslims, they're taking them into camps and just trying to there's a name for it, but that's what is happening over there in Far East and in the Middle East. And now we move to the DR Congo, where officials in the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo say at least 22 people have been killed during a rebel attack on Saturday night in a village near Beni City. And then we move to Zimbabwe, and Mary Mubaiwa, the estranged wife of Zimbabwe's Vice President Constantino Chiwenga, will today appear in court to face charges of money laundering and fraud. The fraud charges arise from an alleged attempt to forge a marriage certificate without her husband's consent while he was sick. Doctor, what is this? Now, the couple was customarily married after Mr. Chiwenga paid a bride price to her parents in 2011. Chiwenga has been seeking medical treatment in China for like 4 months. So apparently now he's back in the country, and his former wife, the estranged wife of Zimbabwean Vice President, now Constant Chiwenga, apparently they just had the traditional marriage, the customary, but they did not have a certificate to validate the marriage. But in Kenya here, it's recognizable whether you have a certificate or not. So now she went ahead to forge a marriage certificate without her husband's consent. So she's appearing in court today.
Yeah, she fought the man. He fought my friend who was dead. Chiwenga is my personal friend. Personal friend. I've eaten food in Chiwenga's, the only man outside who has gone there, myself. I ate food in Chiwenga. I knew Chiwenga from Tanzania. You know, everybody wrote him off saying he was dying. So the woman knows how. You see, again, Africa, we have a problem. My wife cannot do this. And thank you very much, Mama, for being reasonable. The worst is she can allow me to do funny things, but not kill me. But look, this is a woman who had already known, because the type of, it looks like even the type of medicine of this witchcraft they put on Constant. my friend Constant. I said, Mr. Constant, General, she knew she was going to die. So she needed the money.
So that will open a Pandora box of other
It has opened a lot.
investigations, because
It has opened. Chiwenga ordered for her arrest.
for you to go and forge a marriage certificate.
Exactly.
How do you forge a marriage certificate? That is criminal to another level.
You know, it is sad. Let me tell you, the people of Zimbabwe, there are so many things that people want to bring on that country. Some want to divide it, some want to do what. So people like this, they have brought a lot of, it brought a lot of confusion between almost between the hierarchy of ZANU-PF, between the president and the general. It almost brought non-talking. Now you see the problem is at home, in the house.
Spilling out into the public.
Yeah, in the house. It's the woman. Anyway, Constantine, I wish you a good recovery. Let this not embarrass or bring more stress. Recover from this type of diseases that humanity cannot run away from. So God will guide you, your General. You are my friend. I hope to see you sometime in the new year, God willing.
All right, thank you. So we move to Sudan, and Sudan's ex-president Omar al-Bashir has been sentenced to 2 years in social reform facility for corruption. The judge told the court that under Sudanese law, people over the age of 70 cannot serve jail terms. Bashir is 75 years old now. Bashir also faces charges related to the 1989 coup that brought him to power, genocide and the killing of protesters before his ousting in April. Of course, corruption case was linked to $25 million a cash payment he received from Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman.
You know,
A lucky escape there for Mr.
Not
Bashir.
a lucky escape. It is going to.
He's not going to jail.
Ask me.
A reform facility. What is social reform? What is
Yes, social reform, because you are going towards the auxiliary point of life.
It's more comfortable over there, Doctor.
No.
Social reform, something.
It's like a home.
Exactly.
A home in Britain. Yes.
For the elderly.
For the elderly, you sit there. It means you have served your life.
It's comfortable.
No, it's an institution.
It's better than the jail.
Yes, but at least, but you go by the rules so that you can.
I think the only thing that is limited there is your freedom of movement and association.
Yes, you are not having outside influence. You are within the influence of the officers commanding the institution. Yeah, you will be, that's okay. But I want to tell you, on top of the story I told you, African leaders don't listen. When this man invited me for dinner in the palace, and the Deputy Chief Justice Mwiru is my friend, is my witness, Ojwang and the other people we went with, I sat on his table. And he told me, I told him, you know what? He told me the French are the ones going to clean up this town, make, what are these called? Canals. For water, for this service. We want a transport system for canals. I looked at him like this. I said, Your Excellency, you are saying the French? The French are the owners of ICC. Even his folk fell, my folk fell. I don't know how he looks at it. They overthrew him. It didn't take long. 2 years passed. He was gone. They were there. They were fomenting a rebellion. Have you seen how they pay people? Things in Sudan started with a woman. There's a woman who started this liberation. Very like a King Kaka here. Have you seen people have already picked it? The Migunas are saying we need a revolution. That is how they play. That's George Soros. Mama, every day I talk and you don't see. This is how George Soros comes in. And the hashtag is picked. And then it defines at a wrong time. They had calculated December. Because this is the time, the hardest time of every year is this month. Families have no transport home. Families have no food. They don't know how they will buy clothes. They don't know how they will eat on Christmas. This is when revolutions come. That's what they are doing. In Sudan, it was a simple woman, isn't it? The woman started, she needs bread. It started on bread. It spread. They started singing songs. Oh, yay. Mahara, mahara, mahara. Things spread. This is exactly. And the leaders of this country, anyway, I don't want to make it. I will make a statement somewhere else. But let's be honest. Stop this trouble before it arrives here. That's all I say to Africa. Stop it. The country's own radar system must stop, go out there and stop this trouble. Their country's on the radar system. And if you are not careful, Kenya is on the radar system. While you are there, you don't know what has happened. The Mutua letter is here. And the statement signed by the police.
Oh,
now,
he went to write a statement?
Yeah, it's signed by police and the DP has to write a statement. It's now an accusation. It's no longer it's no longer a lie. Mutua has filed a complaint to the police and they want it. He is sent, let me send it to you, Miriam, so that you can see where we are heading, so that you know what I was talking is not for nothing. There's something wrong in our community going on now. It's not very good. There you are, they are there. Mutua has sent 5 pages describing incident 2. He was really physically threatened. He's quoted the CCTVs from State House.
When did that happen? Or it's in the...
I think have you not... Let me tell you. Now, I think you're again going to say I'm a prophet. Didn't I tell you I don't go for those things?
No,
I don't go.
You don't attend those.
Yes.
You don't even go to
I got my card, but Your Excellency, I'm sorry, I don't come. Because there are people there who hate you, and that place, when he slaps you, you can't slap back. Me, I'm hated. And they came in Mombasa, they put me on a table where Chief Justice Maraga was going to sit. So how could I sit with Maraga? He doesn't like me. The food could just come out, mine.
Whoever who did that was a setup.
I looked at my card, at the position of the card, I saw Maraga. I said, no, I'm not going there. I stayed in the hotel. I watched on TV. This one, because the man, you can stand up, you are greeting the guy, and the guy slaps you. And then they think it is you who went to slap the deputy president. Sindio hao wanakutoa na biguu iko juu, the trousers down, the shirt gone. I don't go there. The guy doesn't like me, so I don't go there. Let him enjoy even some of these things. He doesn't like me, so why should I force myself to go there? He has told people he does not like that. He calls me that Ugandan.
According to Sudanese law, people over the age of 70 cannot serve jail terms. That is quite interesting. I've not heard it from anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
When you're a certain age.
After 75, you don't serve. Because in Arab, either the sentence is very dangerous, they cut you with panga, or they stone you up to death.
It's radical like that.
Yes. They don't wait until you reach that stage and demonize the community. Unapaka community na mambo mbaya. Apana, they cut you to size.
Oh, okay.
They cut you to size.
That's interesting. I didn't know that. So we moved to South Sudan.
So that's why, in short, there is no crime there.
In a lot of Arab worlds.
Yes. Because by the time when you reach 70, 75, you have gone home to relax. They don't pull you back. They look at you as an elder to give the community. So the basic thing, if you have committed crimes after 75, is to give you a social amenity. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. To sit and read your Quran, whatever, every morning, every evening, read and get salvation, forgiveness before you go to the final journey, so that you are cleaned. General Bashir will be through there. That's the transition. This is something that cannot happen. So the Sudan law cannot allow Bashir to go for sentence.
At the ICC.
At the ICC. Catch my hand.
All right, Doctor, we have a few minutes, but I also want us to look at some news here. There's some news from Cameroon which you're coming into, but first of all, let's tackle South Sudan. And the South Sudanese public has strongly supported a return to the original 10 states, despite Juba officials sticking to 32 or more. A report by the Independent Boundaries Commission, a 14-member body created under the revitalized agreement on the resolution of the conflict of South Sudan, shows that fewer people sided with the government position after receiving 2,261 submissions from the public. It turned out 1,583 of them want South Sudan to return to the 10 states it had at independence in 2011, arguing they could be run better. So you see there another hurdle for...
So who are these saying?
The public, apparently.
That they want to return to the original?
The 10 states, yes.
You see? Miriam, again, am I a prophet? What did I tell you? We are going back to the original 10 states.
But the government wants 32 or more.
No, did you want the 50 what?
Even 55.
55. So
more than the United States of America.
So the conflict is there. They won't have.
But this Independent Boundaries Commission, I'm just wondering who supported this research or this? Are they who?
The South Sudan.
It will be interesting to know who.
Samu Muzungu has come in and have lied them.
Because the 10 states is what Machar wants, and some part of other opposition.
They want to use the other. You see, the whole thing is that the unity, if Garang had been alive, there would be no two Sudan. So whoever assassinated Garang or how Garang died did not want, he wanted a two-state. Garang was not very eager to run into a two-state, because he said there is nothing we shall be able to deliver as a state first, apart from the emancipation. We blacks of the South, together with the Arab of the North, we remain together and make a greater Sudan. That was Garanga's vision, I'm telling you. I think some mischievously, I don't know, God, Anyway, it's okay, my sister. God, John, may your soul rest in peace. I'm still here.
All right.
I'm still here. Today you have brought very emotional topics, Miriam. I'm still here. I remember John, when he came to Runda, those days, to see us, I, Otai, Peter Otai, myself, the late Smith Opono Chak. I remember very well all of us in one corner. But may his soul rest in peace. For us who have remained, we shall fight and defend your integrity up to the end. That's all.
Defend the integrity. I think that is very important. For South Sudanese, even as they are across the world, hoping that one day they will return to their country. Oh, Doctor, I didn't mean to upset you.
No, I'm telling you,
but
there are so many things.
Very close to our hearts.
There are so many things that have. This guy never allowed, wanted a division. You see, what he predicted is what is happening. Garanga told people that dividing Sudan now will bring social difficulties for it. Exactly what he predicted is here. Is here now. You see what is happening? Sudan is finished. Finito. South Sudan is finished. The other one is struggling.
Finished before it even started.
Yes. When we were in Sudan in 2005, I tell you, this was a country where you leave your money, $5,000 on the table and leave the door open. And you come back and find the money there. The door can be open. I used to stay in this hotel called Juba Bridge. Juba Bridge, near the River Nile, as a man negotiating peace for Uganda. I used to leave my door open. And you find the money, the suitcase, the briefcase, everything is there, intact. Your phone could be brought back. Now look at the country where we are. I don't think you can sleep 1 inch. You must get so many padlocks to lock. So it is a better place. How do we make it better? It's by discussing these opportunities as Africans. But the way, in summary about Sudan, believe me or not, that's the sticking point. Have you seen it coming? 10 states, and most people prefer 10 states.
Yes.
So Riek Machar
and his 55 states.
Yeah, then Salva Kiir wants 55. Riek Machar has won this round. The government has to. Now it's thrown back the ball to the government, whether they accept 10. If they don't, he gets an answer of saying it's not me, it is them.
He has a backing and an advantage over that report.
Of the population. Yes. Next.
Next, we move to Libya, and the United Nations supported government is held hostage by armed and terrorist militias in the capital Tripoli. That is according to Egypt's president. Did you hear what Al-Sisi now is saying? That the UN supported government in Libya is being held hostage by armed and terrorist militias. Al-Sisi. So Abdel Fattah Al-Sisi said in a televised comments that the government of National Accord is not able to have a free and drill because they have been taken hostage by armed terrorists and militias there. The GNA is backed by Egypt's rivals, that is Turkey and Qatar. And Egypt's relations with the two countries have been strained since 2013. And that's when Sisi, as defense minister, led the military to overthrow of elected but divisive Islamist President Mohamed Morsi amid mass protests against his brief rule. Of course, Morsi is the member of Muslim Brotherhood, which I think also is a very big play here in the Libya's problem here, because Morsi has been saying and believes that the GNA, the government that is supported by the United Nations, is very lenient when it comes to the Muslim Brotherhood. So that has been his fighting point, the reason why he's supporting, the renegade Mr. Haftar. But what I don't understand here is him coming in now and saying that Libya is being held hostage by armed and terrorist militias, which sounds like what he is supporting himself. He's the one holding Libya hostage, in a nutshell. Another sad situation in Africa.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There you are. Mm-hmm. Haven't I told you that? Mm-hmm. The Americans got hot wind. Mm-hmm. They got wind. They got their passport man. General Khalifa Haftar is an American. Mm-hmm. They place him under very serious observations. Mm-hmm. Instructions, go and deliver. Mm-hmm. And they have sat back. They have given him surveillance. You think the plane is leaving Mediterranean Sea on the ship, going to attack Tripoli? Mm-hmm. Americans see everything there.
They do.
So there you are. We've lost it.
They have a satellite there, and it's America.
We've lost it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. My sister, we've lost it.
Mm-hmm. And still on that, another report also from Libya, from buying an Irish Navy boat to registered as a private yacht to enlisting a Canadian firm to recruit Sudanese fighter. Libya's warring parties are running rings around the UN arms embargo. That's the up, according to a 40-word report published last week by UN experts who accused an array of firms and external powers of violating a 2011 embargo by delivering arms or fighters to the North African country. So apparently there has been a Canadian firm that recruits Sudanese fighters. So Sudanese fighters are now part of the war in Libya, and the firm that is enlisted in doing this on behalf of those players there in Libya, they recruit Sudanese fighters. So they don't recruit their own people.
Exactly.
So they'll go get the janjaweed from Sudan. Free for hire.
Let's hold it, leave it there. The janjaweed has come again. Those are my friends. I wouldn't like to say much. There's something that you have said. Let's leave it to that level. I think since this being our last Monday, mm-hmm. we can have a break. And I don't know what you are doing in the afternoon.
In the afternoon from 3?
Yes.
I'll be here.
Yes. Mm-hmm. If we can, because some of the topics that you had brought out are very good, we can put them under either this week. Let's review all our shows. We can put it up to Thursdays when we shall be able to call it a day, mm-hmm. and I leave people to start going to their various homes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we see you in the afternoon.
At 3 p.m. on which topic? Matsanga Africa Perspective?
Sure.
Or do you want us to do Anakat?
No, I think Matsanga Africa Perspective is perfect.
Anakat. Why don't we go to Anakat? Uncensored? That will be too dangerous. Let's limit ourselves at 3 p.m. Matsanga Africa Perspective. Mm-hmm. We shall look at country by country. Mm-hmm. In fact, we don't need the match notes. Miriam will name the country and I will recite
the events that have been happening throughout this
Yes,
year.
The country, I talk about it, the country by country.
Good.
I don't know if we could push it up to 4 so that you have enough.
Even after 5, it's okay. 2 hours will be great.
Yes.
And even review the elections that have happened in Africa and what maybe we can learn, if at all we ever learn from anything.
Yes.
Yes.
So, and if you have a class in the afternoon?
It's later in the evening, so it's okay.
We can push it to 5?
To 5, yes.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Let's see you at 3.
We have done our PR on the systems, on your viewers. Thank you very much. Those who have watched our first phase was very good. We encourage youth to stand by themselves, not to be used to spread hate against others. Divisions of that nature will never help Africa. We encourage you to use your talent to earn a living, but surely earning a living when you have named people, before you start, there will be a lot of court battles. It's not very good living. Do you? You wouldn't like to start a point when your name is in RB, what is it called? RBS. Is it credit CRB? CRB of Kenya is not very good. So start a living from a point which is neutral, and that is it. I am sure Uhuru is not going to keep quiet, knowing her as she is. She's going to battle with Mr. Kaka. And what is more important is our lawyers. Mr. Ahmed Nasir is already laughing because he knows he wants to make money out of this. He knows the master will pay. You know, we have very queer human beings in this place. Very queer. Very strange. And if you ask Ahmed Nasir why his door is Ahmad, what are you defending yourself from? From the people you have hammered from. Did you see his door of his gate? You can't go through.
His residence?
Yes, you have to use a remote control to talk to him. A door. I think our social media manager will bring us the door of Ahmed Nasir. We want to see, why does the lawyer have such a door which is not even at the State House? You must be hiding from something. There you are. So many good things happen in Africa, but some are very interesting. So the lawyers are already saying, bring it on. Thank you very much, my sister. Thank you for at times it became emotional, but that is what life is. I will never follow music which I don't know. That's it. Thank you.